I think one of the coolest things in life is knowing that you have the ability to create massive amounts of wealth and massive amounts of abundance in your life, and you can choose that. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. What is up going on, guys? Welcome to the I Am Undeniable podcast. And the topic I'm going to be talking about today is how to create wealth and abundance. And I think this is going to be such a good topic for a lot of you. I think there is, a big limiting belief about what wealth and abundance is, how to create more financial success in your life, and how to kind of see that. And, you might be like, whoa, where's this coming from? I thought this guy was a fitness coach. But what a lot of people don't know is I've had multiple businesses. I have a very successful business right now. And I'm also a business coach for PT Domination. I run one of the programs where I teach online fitness coaches how to scale and grow their business. And one of my goals this year is to give back, give them as much free value to each and every single one of you guys as much as possible. And I was actually on a podcast on Sunday, two podcasts, one with my boy, Mike. He invited me down to get on there and we dropped some major value. And essentially what I learned from there is I need to talk more. I need to speak more and I need to speak my mind and give you guys essentially more value, right? I was on a podcast called 9-Figure Earners. And these are literally very successful people coming on and dropping massive value and tips and ideas. And I want to be the most valuable pieces of resources out for you in the social media network and in the podcasting world as well. And that's what I'm going to be doing for you guys. Now, why am I talking about how to create wealth and abundance? I think there's a massive amount of fear and limiting beliefs on what wealth and abundance really is. I want to teach you guys two things here. So let's define wealth, right? The generic definition says the accumulation of valuable resources or material possessions, including money, property, and other assets that provided financial security and the ability to meet one's needs and desires. Right? Quite interesting. It's an accumulation of assets, right? Assets all together, which is going to create wealth for you. Now, if we look into abundance, it's a state of having more than enough resource and opportunities or blessings to meet and exceed one's needs, often characterized by plenty or prosperity, which is also an interesting, very interesting definition because I disagree on both definitions, right? I definitely think wealth and abundance are based on what I call your frequency, your state of being. If you are in a constant flow state, you will attract more wealth and abundance in your life. Now, what do I mean by that? It's not like you're going to wake up and there's $1 million on your doorstep. It's not how wealth and abundance works. But what it can do, it can give you the ability to be more productive. It can give you the ability to get things done in a more efficient manner. And I'm all about efficiency. I'm all about giving you the ability to be in a constant flow state so you can create more wealth and abundance in your life. And imagine that. Imagine if you had less stress. Imagine if you were having way more energy to get these things done. Imagine you can make the right logical decisions to see the success that you want to see. How much would your life change on a day-to-day basis? It'll probably make a massive difference for you, wouldn't it? So let's redefine those two definitions for you guys right now. So wealth, it's a sense of richness and fulfillment that arises from inner peace, meaningful relationships, personal growth, and living in alignment with one's purpose, regardless of material possessions. Let me tell you this, anyone can buy material possessions, and material possessions doesn't mean that you shouldn't. I'm all about material. I love awesome swag. You know what I mean? I love to swag out. I love expensive things, but there's also a dichotomy between the two, right? In order to have that, you need to have the wealth in other areas of your life, right? Like I mentioned the definition earlier, having inner peace, meaningful relationships, personal growth, and living in alignment with your purpose and regardless of material possessions. My question to you is this: what is your purpose? Because if you knew what your purpose was, you could have inner peace, meaningful relationships, personal growth, and you could live in alignment. Maybe you feel like you're out of alignment. You don't know where to go. Maybe you feel out of control based on what's going on in the world right now. There's a lot of fear for a lot of people. So how do you get yourself realigned and become the person that you're meant to be to create the wealth in your life? Well, number one, you need to get very, very clear, not on what you want. Because a lot of people bring that back to vision, right? They're like, you need to know what your vision is. You need to know what your why is. And I think that is such a generic fucking answer, to know what your why is. My question is this: do you know who you are? Have you gone deep inside your soul and ripped apart the person that you are today? Have you tackled the traumas in your life? Have you worked on your inner work? Have you worked on your mindset? Do you have a healthy body? Yes, you can create a vision and a why for what you want, but the reality is, unless you work on who you are as a person, it doesn't matter. My goal for you for this is, again, to unlock that pathway, not to change who you want to become in the future, but clear it up so you can live according to who you really are inside. And if you can do that, well, that pathway to wealth is all of a sudden there. Now let's talk about abundance. Let's talk about my definition of abundance, which is the recognition and embrace of infinite flow of love, energy, and opportunities from the universe, leading to gratitude and a belief that there is always enough for everyone. You don't create abundance. You don't chase abundance. You are abundance. And again, that has to do with your flow state. If your flow state is constantly getting blocked, how can you create that abundance for yourself? You know what I mean? What I mean by that, my question for you, I want you guys to write this down. What is stopping you from creating wealth and abundance in your life? To tune into love, energy, and opportunities. Because there's literally opportunities everywhere. But why haven't you created that for yourself? And again, it comes down to living out your truth, right? Living out your truth and understanding that there is nothing wrong with you, right? I think there's a lot of things when it comes down to trauma that I've been seeing on social media. They're like, you got to deal with your trauma. But the reality is we all have trauma to some degree. There's different levels of it. But the truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. If you really just took a look at a person, shed the layers, right? Took away their ego, took away their negative mindset, just kind of look at who they are. There is nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you, right? So I think a lot of times we create a negative self-belief persona about who we are. It really blocks us off from creating wealth and abundance. It's kind of crazy, because I've been really deep diving into psychology, the history of humanity, and kind of really, really taking a look at that. Is okay, what is blocking you from those pathways? So now the question is, well, how do I create more wealth and abundance? Well, you got to work on yourself first, right? So I'm going to outline 5 different areas that you need to work on to start creating more wealth and abundance, and has nothing to do with owning a business, chasing money, any of that. Those are going to be outcomes based on these things, right? Because if you run a business, you're entrepreneurial, you have a higher purpose, you want to do more, you need to clear these pathways to get there first, right? Because if you can clear these pathways, you're going to be way more efficient. You're going to tackle things a lot easier. You're going to have way more energy, and you're going to have a lot more clarity in exactly what you need to do. So number one thing that you need to do in order to clear those pathways is you need to become very energy efficient with yourself and with your time, right? Time is money, right? So you need to stop wasting your time on things that are not aligning for what your purpose is. So you need to essentially cut out the bullshit. Get on your calendar, write it out, and cut out the bullshit. Cut out the Netflix. Create boundaries with shitty people in your life that are taking energy away from you. Get into a health and fitness routine. Start eating better. You need to get into a flow state, and it comes with organizing yourself, organizing your life, and get into a complete energy flow state. Because if you can't do that, how are you going to make money and create abundance in your life? You can't. You need to be in a flow state. In order to do that, cut out all distractions that are eliminating you from being that person. And you guys know what this list is, right? If I ask you what's holding you back, and you tell me I don't know, you do know. It's the first thing that pops in your head. Cut that shit out. And a lot of times it is the people that are holding us back. It is the doom scrolling on Netflix or whatever you give it, little tiny things like that. Cut that out so you can get into complete flow state and get into a health and fitness routine so you can have the energy to function at a very high level. Second thing, meditation. I'm a big believer in meditation. Get in a routine, do it first thing in the morning. Because look at this. if you need to think about what's going on in your brain the whole time, when you are chasing wealth, it can be very stressful. So you need to get into a place where you can think about your thoughts constantly. Because if you don't like your thoughts, if you don't like the way you think, I'm sorry, that's something fucking wrong right with you right there. You need to like get to a place where you can sit down for 5 to 10 minutes and be still and let your thoughts just happen. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't handle that. Imagine just going into like a room for 24 hours, no phone, you can't talk to anyone, and you're just alone with your thoughts. Can you handle that? If you cannot handle that, you got some work to do. And you got to do the meditations. You got to have stillness where you can start processing these things that are going on in your brain. Because again, the goal here is to get into a flow state, to get into a place where you're in constant flow, right? That's a big one. Third is get into what I call a creator process, right? So what they say, everything you come up with, nothing comes from you, comes from above. I'm a big believer in that. So you need to get in a state of creativity to let your creativity flow. The more creative you can be, the more you'll create wealth and that abundance that you're looking for, because you need to be creative. You need to have an outlet for yourself. Now, this can be social media. Social media for me is my creative outlet. You can draw, you can journal, you can build stuff, whatever that looks like for you. You need something to create, right? Wealthy people create stuff. Wealthy people create stuff in their life, right? Be the creator, get creative with like your thought process, your brain. That is going to be a tremendous release for you. Step number 4, it is going to be a grind. You want like the thing about what I've been noticing right now on social media, it's like you don't have to work hard to make money. Yes, you do. You got to work hard so you don't have to work hard later. You have to understand that you need to have work ethic. You need to have a schedule outline. You need to make sacrifices. Like for myself right now, I am up at 4 a.m. and I'm in bed at 9 p.m. pretty much no matter what. If I'm up a little later because I went to the hockey game on the weekend, I'm up at 4 a.m. I have to make that sacrifice. It's the same thing for yourself. Pull up your big boy pants and get to work. It's number 4, right? Understanding and accepting the truth of it. And number 5, I think this is the most important thing. In order to grow, in order to get to the next step where you're going to at, you need to work on accepting the fact that you're stuck where you're at. You have to work on the fact to accept that it's going to take some time to get to where you want to go. It's not going to take a year. It's not going to take 6 months. It's going to take longer than you think it is. And that's okay. Everyone goes through that. But you have to accept that. You have to accept the fact that it's going to be a journey for you to get to the top. And it's going to take some work. You can't just like business without working on who you are as a damn person. It just doesn't work like that, right? Because you got to look at this. $10,000 of stress is very different compared to $100K to $1 million to $10 million of stress. How are you going to handle that when you get to that level? Well, unless you work on it now, you ain't going to do it. That's just the damn truth. So, guys, that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys get a ton of value out of this. We're going to bring a brand new energy to the podcast for the year 2025. Talk to you soon. Peace out. Sup, guys?